Hi friends, I'm Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today is the start of a reading vlog. So I have very recently hit 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is like a big number for me, and in honor of that, one of the things that I would like to do is read some of your recommendations and things that you have recommended to me. So last year I filmed a physical TBR video and then asked for comments of books that you would like me to prioritize on there. So I'm going to be reading 3 of the books that you have recommended to me off of my own physical TBR. Actually, as of filming this, I have already read one of the books. I have cheated and I forgot to film the intro, and so I read one of the books already, and here we are now introducing everything. So we will be going back to the past for the past Abby, but the intention is that I will read 3 books. As I am a mood reader, I will be picking the comments and picking the books myself. So I did contemplate the idea of doing like the random generator to pick the comments, and then I was like, oh, I don't know. So I don't know about that actually. And then I was going through the comments, like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to read that one right now. I'm not sure if I want to read that one. So we're doing it with like a pinch of mood reader in there, and each time that I get to deciding on a book, I will decide as the mood reader and fit the book in that I want. The first book for this video is The Helm of Midnight, and the comment from this one is from Vish from Books with V, so that one did win my interest the first time around. I have not yet decided my second and third book as of filming this, but that is the intention for this video, that I will read through some comments. I will read your comments, see which one has a book that most appeals to me, and I will read that book, and hopefully it will be a success and it will be an absolute hit. Also, to celebrate hitting 5,000 subscribers, I will do a giveaway. So I haven't done one of these since I hit like 1,000 subscribers, so quite a while ago, but just to like appreciate you for watching me and continuing to watch me and watching my videos, watching my content, and like engaging with what I'm putting out, and enjoy my love of books, I will do a book giveaway. I think last time I did it with Book Depository, but Amazon, book company within your country, Blackwells, whichever ships to you, I will do a giveaway. To enter, you just need to put a comment. Just put a comment down below and like be a subscriber. That's simple as that. In a couple of weeks time, I will do I'll spin the wheel and we will get a winner. Easy peasy, and I will send you a book of your choice. Within reason. I'm not going to be sending you like £100 fancy edition books. It'll, you know, the normal price for a paperback hardback, within reason. So I hope you enjoy this vlog of me reading some of your recommendations, and I will speak to you, well, past Abby will speak to you in a bit. Good evening. So I wanted to check in as I have started my first book for this vlog of reading your recommendations. I believe this one was recommended by Vish from Books with V. She was one of my first booktube friends that I made when I joined booktube. Love her channel, and she recommended for me to read The Helm of Midnight by Marina Lostetta. So I know that Vish has already read this and she really enjoyed it. I can't remember when she read it, a good few years ago probably. This came out a good few years ago, and I think that's when I got it, so it has been sat lingering on my shelf. But I did actually see, I think I just started this book and then I saw that news on the 3rd book came out, so I know that the series is concluding at early 2025, so I feel like this is a good time for me. I'm like, okay, that's fine, I can pace myself with it if I love it. And so far so good. So the plot of this book, it is a fantasy world, and we have multi perspectives but over slightly different timelines. So yeah, we're set in this fantasy world, which seems to be like a small section of this world is habitable by humans and the rest is a wasteland and is not, and there are these evil monsters that live in the wasteland that sometimes cross over into the human lands. We follow our main character Krona, who is in the military task force, and at the beginning of the book a artifact gets stolen during an event, and there's an attack, and she and her task force are attempting to figure out what has happened, who has stolen this mask and what has gone on. So this artifact is a mask, and in this world the magic is that you can, when you die, your subconscious can be imbued into these masks which other people can wear to sort of get your learnings. So like if you are a doctor in life, your knowledge can be put into this mask, and then other people wear it and know your knowledge and know how to enact what you knew. But some masks are easier to control than others, and others the subconscious would like try and take over that human body. So quite a like interesting magic system. And this mask that has been stolen is actually a mass murderer's mask, and then we are starting to see these murders happening again as someone is reenacting these murders. So very interesting. There are also a couple of other perspectives that we get, and I'm very intrigued to see how they're all going to like interweave together and like come together, because you can sort of see how it might come together, but currently intrigued. As of right now, I guess if you can tell by my like excitement, I am very intrigued by what's going on. I'm very, very intrigued. I think the world's really interesting. I'm enjoying like the world building, how we're getting like it in sort of dribs and drabs, how that's all coming together and how we're getting explained, how everything's getting explained. I'm liking that. Like I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions about the world and its lore and magic, but I'm satisfied with the way that we are getting that information fed to us. I am enjoying all our characters, and as I said, they're in slightly different timelines. So one of them is 2 years prior to like the modern year events, and one of them is 11 years prior. So I am liking that and the different information that we're getting from each perspective. I do think this will work for those that like a murder plot within a fantasy book. I know that can be quite a divisive thing, that you get people that like a mystery and like a murder case in a fantasy setting, and those people that don't. I am, I guess, indifferent to that as like a plot device. Like I've liked it, I've not liked it. It's not something that I necessarily gravitate towards loads, but I don't hate it as a setting. I'm not a massive like mystery reader anyway, but I am definitely enjoying this and enjoying seeing how it's going to like interweave together. I'm finding our characters really interesting to read from. Like so far, it's a hit. I am 120 pages in, 25 pages. Chapter 14 is where I'm at. Got like third of the way through the book, and so far so good. So far really, really intrigued by what's going on. Definitely excited to continue on with this, and I really hope like it continues to intrigue me. I'm enjoying the writing style. Like all positive. It's all positive. Yeah, enjoying the writing style, enjoying the characters, enjoying the pacing, enjoying how it's like interweaving together. All positive and interesting. So I am feeling excited about this. I'm feeling very excited about this book, and I've had this book for so long and I've not read it. And I've had it for so long. I think I must have got this in like 2021. I've had it a while. I've had it a good while. So I will keep reading this. I will keep reading and I will update. I don't know if I'll update before the end. We'll see how we get on. But yeah, so far so good. And hopefully this continues to be good, and then I can buy book 2 and then be ready for book 3. Oh, perfect. Hello, it is the end of the working day. It is 13th of June, which means it is Bridgerton Day. We've made it to part 2 of Bridgerton. I do not have an update for this actual vlog of reading like your recommendations, your favourite books, the books that you think I should read. I don't have an update for that. I mean, I have read a little bit more of The Helm of Midnight, but not a lot since we last updated, so I'm going to save that update. But I'm just checking in here because, you know, Bridgerton Day, and I have some books to talk about because I've got some book notes, so I just thought I'd check them off. So I have three things here to show off. At the weekend, I picked up Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This is her latest romance release. I went into town and this was on a buy one get one half price book table, and so me and my friend both got it. So yeah, this is a romance that I've been wanting to read. Yeah, it follows like one person who says online that whoever he dates then goes on to meet the love of their life, that he's there, like they date him, they then find their soulmate. And so this woman responds saying, oh, that's me, that happens to me too. And so they start dating, thinking that if they date then will then find their soulmates, but actually they might be each other's soulmates. So I'm excited to read this one. I've been like planning to read it since it came out in like April. I was like, oh yeah, that's a new release I'm really excited about, and then I just hadn't picked it up until the table of authors called to me, and so now I have it and just need to read it. Not in this vlog because this is all about the backlist books that you have like recommended to me or recommended on my last year's physical TBR, so that these books are not going to be included. They can't be included here. And then another romance. This one came out on Tuesday this week, so just delivered. I unboxed it before this. I unboxed it on Tuesday when it arrived. Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. This is her latest STEM romance, and I think this is two people faking or like pretending that they're not in a relationship in an office-based environment. Yeah, excited to get into this one as well because I've read everything Ali Hazelwood and I have really enjoyed it. Actually, both of these authors, I've read everything, I believe, of their like romance releases. So these are two authors that I'm very much up to date on and excited for their new releases in the romance genre. Brightly coloured books to add to the TBR. And I generally find that with romance books, they don't really sit on my TBR for very long. Like they generally come on and then get straight back off because I don't read that many of them. And then we have the new release. So this one I haven't unboxed. This arrived first thing this morning, or like got it the first thing, and I was like, I want to unbox that, I want to unbox that. And I was like, no, Abby, you can unbox this on camera. And I was like, oh, I could unbox this on camera. I could unbox this with everybody. But I also want to unbox it right now, and you can see I have not done it. I have not done it. I've resisted. I've done my full day of work. I resisted. I resisted this. This I resisted. It was hard, but I've made it, and now I'm here to unbox this. Oh, that like did the whole thing. Waterstones. Waterstones. Oh, this is pretty. I'm only seeing the edge, and the edge is pretty. Come along. Oh, yeah, this is quite pretty. This is what I've been looking at. Just like, so this is the Waterstones edition of When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. I've been excited to read this. I am excited to read this. This is like a fantasy romance release. I actually don't know loads about it, but I've seen some rave reviews on this from some people that really like fantasy romance, and I typically like fantasy romance. Mostly I like first books in fantasy romance series, and then it can like go a bit, it can fall off a cliff a little bit when the couple are actually together for me. But I'm excited to read this one. I've heard pretty rave reviews, so I'm excited for it. And very luckily, when it was announced, I was like, I want to read that book. Yeah, I think I want to read it. And I saw Waterstones like announced an edition, and I was like, yeah, that looks quite pretty, I'll buy it. And then it was like sold out instantly. So I feel very fortunate that I've been able to acquire this sold out edition, because yeah, it's very, very pretty. It's got dragons in it, if you can't guess from this. Oh, and it's got a really nice map. So I am excited to read this. But yeah, I'm gonna have to resist the call of all of these new books, resist their like siren call, and read The Helm of Midnight, which I'm really enjoying. But it's hard when like new exciting things come in to be like, okay, let's go back to that other book. So that was all I wanted to talk about. So I've got exciting book mail, which is going to be siren calling me. I've also got Bridgerton, which is going to be siren calling me because it's Bridgerton and we're obsessed in this household. Wow, we're not. I'm the one that's obsessed in this household. My partner couldn't care, doesn't he? It doesn't even register for him. He is not interested in Bridgerton. But I am obsessed in this household. That's this small like interlude to talk about some new releases. I'll get back to you in a bit with an update on The Helm of Midnight. Hello. I have finished The Helm of Midnight today. I finished it. I can't remember if I like caught up since I did my first check-in when I was like 100 pages in. I've really enjoyed this. I've really enjoyed this. This is such a good book. Such a good recommendation. I have been hooked to this book. I have found it so compelling to read. So compelling. Yeah, I think I explained that there were like 3 perspectives, but they were spread over different timelines. I really enjoyed that setup and how we were like building to the conclusion. I think the pacing of this is really well done. Like I was always interested and like compelled with it to keep going, but I felt as though it definitely built towards the ending. Like those final 100 pages, I was like, oh I'm hooked. Yeah, so I was pretty hooked right the way to the end. I enjoyed the writing style. I think it was very like well written, and just the sort of descriptions of everything I liked. I found our characters were really fleshed out as well. Like I really enjoyed this. Yeah, the characters very fleshed out, like very like different personalities between all of them. So very interesting to read from each of them, and like each perspective. I was like, oh yeah, I'm very happy like reading from your perspective. I'm really interested in what's going on. I liked the investigation that we were sort of going through and piecing it all together. And I'm very interested to see what's going to happen in the next book, because I think there's a much wider like world and magic system, which we're just sort of getting the like dribs and drabs into, because our characters don't know much about it, and as the characters don't know much about it, us as a reader don't know much, but we know that there is more out there, there's more that we just don't know at this point in time, and I want to know like what that means, like where that is going to be going for our characters in this world, because I probably would have liked a little bit more world building. Like I think what we got was done well, but I feel I've got loads of questions, and then they might be questions that get answered in like future installments. Because it is a trilogy, so it's not like everything is wrapped up, but I think I could have just had a little bit more world building, but that it could just be that because our characters don't know, we as the reader don't know. Because yeah, I'd like some more explanations, like the magic, the way it works, but that's probably for future. It left me with some good intrigue. I think there were lots of like satisfying points within the book of like emotional turmoil. I think it might be 5 stars. I think it might be. Very strong, like a very, very strong book. Thank you, Vish, for this recommendation. Like, thank you, Vish. This was, yeah, excellent. Would definitely recommend. Looking forward to reading the sequel. Definitely going to read the sequel. Really happy I read this and finally got it off my shelf and finally read this one, because I've had it for a while. I thought I knew I was going to enjoy it. I knew I was going to like it. I just hadn't read it yet because it's not complete. It isn't a completed series, but it is quite close-ish now, because like the second book is out and the third book comes out in January. So, and it now has a cover and everything. I think it's January anyway, January, February. So that is still a little while away. But I really enjoyed this, and hopefully I can like pace out when I read the sequel, because yeah, this was a good one. Very excited about this book. I feel as though I came out of May, and in May I did reading my self-destructing books, and quite a few of those books I'd had on my TBR for a long time. Probably some of them a similar amount of time to this. Maybe this is slightly newer. And so then I'd had this run of books that were in some ways that I'd had for ages, and then they were a little bit disappointing. And prior to starting this vlog, I tried to read, it was Promise of Fire, Amanda Boucher. I tried to read that book, got 100 pages in, and I was like, no. And I was excited to read that book. And I'd had that book, I think, the same amount of time as this. And I was like, oh no, some of these backlist books are disappointing me now. Like these books that I've had on my TBR, oh, this is annoying me. And actually it's quite nice to have got back to a book that I've owned for a good while and that I've actually really enjoyed, because I was starting to question some of the older books on my TBR. I was like, oh no, is everything going to be a disappointment? But it's not. There are some gems on that older TBR. That has wrapped that up. I think I will have a break from this vlog, but hi friends. So it's been a little while since I finished Helm of Midnight, which was my first book for this vlog. And I have finally started my second book of reading your recommendations. The second book I've decided to read is one that I think Sam from Griff Reads put up. She listed a few choices for me. I'm pretty sure it was Sam. I'll have the comment. She listed a few. One of them was Raybearer by Jordan Fueco. I thought this would be an easy one to throw in here. I've had this book, I've now realised I've had this book since October 2021. So it's quite a while, and I don't consider this book an old book on my TBR. I'm like, oh, it's not that old. October 2021 is soon to be 3 years ago. It's like not even 2.5, more than 2.5 years ago. So I've had this book for ages, and I haven't read it. And I've definitely got older books. I've definitely got books which are like pre-COVID books, and so I just hadn't realised how old it is. Anyway, this is the start of a YA duology, and we're following our main character Tirase, who is raised like completely in isolation by this woman called the Lady, or her mother, and then when she reaches like 11-12 years old, she suddenly gets thrust out into the world, where she is tasked with like joining the like prince of that land's council, and so he chooses them when he's young, and there's one person from each district. But actually her mother has tasked her with something more malign, and that she is going to go there, fall in love with the prince, and when he anoints her, she will murder him because her mother, I guess, wants him dead. So yeah, we're following her from a young age through to her teenage years. I think the world building is quite interesting. I'm enjoying that there's like 12 different sectors within this world that are all aligned under this prince. I'm intrigued by what the lady's motivations are for why she wants to murder this person. I quite like the magic and the lore that each person has like a skill or more than a skill, so our main character is able to like read the memories of things from just touching them, whether that's inanimate objects or whether that's people. I do enjoy that. I think the writing style is quite compulsive. It's quite easy to read. I wouldn't say like I'm obsessed. I wouldn't say I'm loving it. I wouldn't say it's doing anything different, but I am enjoying it. I am enjoying it. So this is a YA, so it definitely does read on the YA side. It reads younger, but I think it's well written. I'm compelled enough to keep reading it. I don't think it's going to be a new favorite, or it's definitely not. Yeah, it's definitely not going to be a new favorite, but I am having fun. It's definitely a quick read. So over the past, I started this yesterday, and I am 192 pages in. I did not mean to like read 192 pages without telling you that I'm reading this book. So another really old book off of my TBR. And also with this cover, I never realised, well, I did realise, but like when I first saw it, I saw the lions, but then there's actually the face in between the lions. I don't know if other people, you know, when you perceive something. So I was perceiving the lions and the foliage, and then I saw the face like quite a little bit afterwards. Yeah, so anyway, if you've been like me. But I have a situation. We have a situation with this book, and it's not to do with the contents of the book. Well, it is. It's not to do with anything the author has done. Nothing to do with the author, nothing to do with the actual words. It is to do with the lack of words in the middle of the book. It is to do with the 20 or so blank pages. Page 194 to page 210 are blank. There's like one page in there which does have some words on it, but the rest of it is blank. It is blank. I am missing like 15 to 20 pages of this book, and I am currently on page 192, and I flipped and I was like, where's the next bit? Where's the rest of my book? And the pages are blank, and Amazon have said, no, we can't do anything with that because you bought this book in 2021. And I was like, well, I didn't check it. I don't check my books to make sure that all the pages are there. I just assume the pages will be there because that's what books should have. I've never had this before. I've never had this where I'm reading a book and suddenly there are pages that aren't here. And my library doesn't have a copy, so can't do anything with that. But I have found that a local Waterstones does apparently have a copy in stock, so I'm going to go there, maybe take some pictures, be a bit sneaky, of those missing pages, or read them in there. Like, I'm going to go get those pages, consume them, and then I will come home and read read some of the rest of the book. I don't anticipate I'm going to finish this today. I'm just in shock that I don't have a whole book, but this isn't whole. It's missing some bits. So yeah, that's my like update of the day. So I'm gonna go to Clapham and I'm gonna go find my missing pages. Well, I really hope that the edition is there. It says that it is, and I've got some trousers that I need to return, so it's like a 2 birds 1 stone. Return the trousers, acquire the missing pages, get something to eat, and that will be a success, I would say. Successful Sunday. Let's do that. Okay, I'm now home. It's a little bit later in the day. I successfully acquired the photos of the pages that I was missing, so I have been able to continue on. I've read a little bit now, onto page 233, so I've got past those pages. So that was a success. I snuck into Waterstones and just took some pictures of those pages, and nobody called me out on it, thankfully. So yeah, that was done. So I will now continue on and making progress in here. And I also returned those trousers, so that was a good job done. Unfortunately, when I was out, it was a bit like grey and miserable, and now the sun is like coming out. I'm like, it could have been sunny earlier. Like, you could have behaved weather. You could have been good for the whole day. Yeah, I then came home, I've done some tidying. So the house, we're getting it in order, slowly but surely. It feels as though the weekend can just suddenly pass and you're like, what have I done? I've done a load of washing. I've done another load of washing. I've folded washing. I've put new bedding on and hoovered, and what a great weekend. Anyway, I've got a package that has arrived. I believe this could be a birthday present, and I know it's not my birthday yet, but I'm going to be going away for when it's my birthday. So I figure, let's open it. I'm going to have to like put you somewhere, or put you so I'm not supporting. Oh, that'll do. There we go. Oh, that was quite satisfying. Oh, yes, this is a series continuation. Who's this from? Oh, it's from Fish. Happy birthday, Abby. I hope you have a wonderful day. Love you and miss your face, Fish. Thank you. So this is the 5th book in the Plated Prisoner series, Gold by Raven Kennedy. This has literally just come out in paperback, or very recently, and so this is perfect timing because I do want to continue on with this series. This is like a fantasy romance series. It's sort of marketed originally as like a King Midas retelling, because our main character is kept in like this gold palace with the king, who is Midas, and he can turn everything to gold. Yeah, and it's quite a different series from the first book. Like, the first book starts off and she's very much happily in this palace, sort of kept as his like pet, and not really living the best life. But as the series goes on, she sort of develops a bit more of a personality and realizes that she is not living the best life, or not kept in the best circumstances, and so things develop quite a bit from that first book. So I am excited to get into this. I did find that the 4th book was a little bit long, and this book is also quite long, so hopefully the pace is good. But I know that we left the 4th book on quite like a cliffhanger, so it'll be interesting to see where this goes. And then I think the 6th and final book is coming out in September, and I think it's coming out straight away in both hardback and paperback. Well, at least that's how it's listed currently on Amazon, which I don't know if that's a bit weird, but like, I accept that, because I have been having to wait for the paperback releases because matching editions problems. Anyway, if that is coming out in September in paperback, that's perfect, because then I can read this and read that in relatively quick succession and finish off a series. So I will get going again now. I will get reading, and I will update once I have probably finished Raybearer. This is quite like a Vish-centric video, because it was Vish that recommended Helm Midnight. Now Vish with this. Vish making some big guest appearances here. Hello, good evening. I have now finished Raybearer by Jordan Fueco. So tick, the 2nd book finished. I have some mixed thoughts on this. For the most part, I enjoyed it. I found it fun. I found it easy to read. I found our characters engaging. I liked the world. I thought the world building was done well. I thought it was interesting. I thought there was enough sort of like things that were revealed that kept it hanging, but I wasn't like obsessed with it. I wasn't like, I have to know what's going to happen. I have to know where this is going to end. I do think there was some interesting plotting that, based on the blurb, I had some expectations going into this, and some of that was subverted, that it didn't quite go the way that I anticipated it was going to go. I was like, these are going to be the plot beats, it's going to be like this, and it wasn't. So I think it did well in that it subverted some of my expectations. So I liked those aspects of the book, but I was never obsessed with it. I was never like obsessed with this book. I think I'm quite happy to just leave this as like the first book in the series. I think it's like a 3.5. Yeah, probably like 3.5. Like, it was good. I had a fun time reading it, but I don't think it's the most memorable. I probably will unhaul this. I had a good time whilst I read it, but it's not like, it's definitely not a new favourite. Definitely not one that I'm like obsessed with. And maybe I would have liked it more if it was adult. Yeah, which is just where my tastes are, that I prefer an adult book. And I think if this could have been like, if everything was expanded a bit more, if everything was a bit more adult, if we got into more of the politics of the land, it could, yeah, I could see like a potential for this being a very good adult book. I mean, it was a good YA book, but I just prefer adult things. It was a good time. I'm happy I read it. I'm happy I've got it off my shelf. Now I know, and this is my expectation with quite a few of the YA books on my shelves, that if I had read them 10 years ago, I might have enjoyed them a lot more than reading them now. That I probably had them for too long, that I should have read them sooner, but I can't change that. I can't go back in time and reread them. Yeah, I might have enjoyed this more if I had read it 10 years ago, but I don't think this was out 10 years ago. I think this only came out in like 2019 maybe, but maybe if I'd read it in 2020 things would have been slightly different, because that was 4 years ago now. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and I do think it does like lead into a cliffhanger, but I'm just going to imagine the ending slightly differently. Like, it could have ended in a slightly different way, and then it would have all been wrapped up roughly in one book. Potentially I could read something that Jordan Ifwako writes in the future, especially if she transitions into writing adult books. So anyway, that is that. Thank you, Sam, for the recommendation. I'm happy that I've managed to read this and get this off my shelf, and definitely an enjoyable read. So that is 2 down, both successes. Not this one, not quite as much success as Helm of Midnight, but successes nonetheless. And I will now take a little break from this vlog because I'm going on holiday tomorrow and you are not coming with me. Maybe I'll put a couple of clips in, but in theory you're not coming with me. So I will take a break and I will check back in after my holiday, after my birthday, and I will pick the 3rd and final book for this vlog. Hello, so I am finally going to be starting my 3rd book for this vlog of reading my subscribers' recommendations. So I've had another look at some of the recommendations and look at my shelves, decide what I wanted out of the recommendations. Sorry, I'm not doing the randomness. At first I was like, I'll let one of these books be a random pick. And then I was like, actually, no, I don't like that idea. I'm going to be the one picking. So I've kept picking the books out of the recommendations. I decided to pick Middle Game by Sean McGuire, which was recommended here. So this one I've had for quite a while on my shelves. So it's been tucked to the back, hidden away. And this was actually gifted to me by my friend Vish, who was the one that recommended The Helm of Midnight, which was the first book in this video. So very nice and coincidental there, come full circle here. And the reason I picked this one is that I know that it is a series, but I think it can also read as a standalone. So I thought that depending on how I felt about it, I could either just read this and feel like it's nice and complete, or I could continue on if I wanted to. But I don't feel as though I've seen like as good reviews for the 2nd and 3rd one. I don't know if people have read those, and I don't know how many books are meant to be in the series, if that is it the trilogy complete, or if there are actually going to be more books, quite like where this is at. But also it really does say on the description that this is a standalone, so I could be very happy to see this as is, which is a good thing for me because I have so many on the go series. And that was one of the things I was looking through the list trying to find a standalone recommendation. I was like, oh, any of these standalones? And I was like, Abby, you've read the standalones. Like, actually I've read quite a few of the standalones that I did have on my shelves, and now I just have first books in series. So this was the most standalone like option there was. So I have started this one. I started it, was it last night? Yeah, ish. I was gonna film like this clip last night saying, I've got my 3rd book, we're starting. And then I looked at myself and I was like, we can't do this. We can't do this. You look ill, Abby. You look on your last legs. I was like, I know it's a Friday evening, but you look like you are not ready to be in front of the camera. And I was like, okay, we'll wait until we've got a bit of makeup on, a bit more refreshed, with the light shining in on a bright sunny Saturday morning, to talk about the book. So this is the book that I've picked. I have started it. I'm actually making some good progress in it because I'm 156 pages in, and I can say I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying this. So it is another hit so far. I don't really know what's going on. Who knows what's actually happening? But I'm enjoying what I'm reading. I'm enjoying the pacing, I'm enjoying the writing. I was a little bit nervous about it because I'd read a couple of her other books. I'd read some of the books in the Wayward Children series, and I wasn't super fussed. Like, I think they were well written, but I wasn't super fussed about them. I don't know, we just didn't click. And so I was a bit like, oh, am I gonna like click with this because it's obviously the same author? But I know she has a really wide array of like writing and loads of different things, and she's written under different pseudonyms as well. So I was hoping that this would be a little bit different, would lean a bit differently. And this was many years ago that I read those couple of Wayward Children's books. And so far, so good. So in this, we have two characters, Roger and Dodger, and we follow them from their like childhood. And you know that they're separated at birth, but they're twins, and they have like this connection. So although they live on different sides of the US, they are able to connect and they're able to like communicate mind to mind. There's sort of like experiments going on. You know that there's this person that's been experimenting on people, and you know that although these kids don't know it, that actually they are some part of some sort of experiment, and that they are going to get roped back into these experiments at some point in their lives, and that at some point this society that has doctored them is going to come back and try to claim the powers that they have put into them. And of the twins, one of them is really strong with like words, languages, and then the other is a lot more mathematical, and together they're going to be able to have some sort of power that they just don't realise yet. And it's sort of like an extension of that like Frankenstein thing where people are building people out of body parts. That's the idea that I've got, that it is like an extension of Frankenstein or Frankenstein's monster. So it's all a bit weird. It is all a little bit weird, but I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the weirdness. It is weird. It is very weird. Anyway, that's where I'm at. I'm hoping to get a lot of reading done so I can finish this off by the end of the month. It is the 27th today, so I have a couple of days, but I'm really hoping I can make some very good headway in this weekend. That is my intention, that is the plan, that is what we're hoping to do here. And I feel like this will have been a really successful like reading vlog, in that I've managed to get some things off of my shelves that I've had for years. But we're not there yet. We're not there yet. But that is, yeah, that's how I'm feeling. Successful. So today we're going to be, I'm home alone. I'm filming a little bit now, and then I'm going to head out. I already had a call with my friend Joanna this morning, and then head into London, so you can obviously come too. And then at some point maybe watch some of the Olympics. I watched some of the opening ceremony yesterday, because that is now on. So we've gone through like a whole range of like June and July over the course of this vlog, just slowly made our way through the summer months. Anyway, that's that, and I will speak to you in a bit. Outside, we'll stay indoors with a glass of red. We'll sing in prose. We'll do what it takes to feel at home in the dark. Feel at home in the dark. Hello, so I am here to wrap up Middle Game, because I finished this a few days ago now, maybe a week ago now, but I have now finished this. I forgot to do a check-in when I was in the middle of it, so here we are at the end. So I mostly enjoyed this book. I would say it is very weird. It's a very weird book. I would say I mostly enjoyed it. There were parts that I enjoyed more. I think I enjoyed the first half more than I enjoyed the second half. I think it just got a little bit too weird for me in the second half. I believe I already spoke about the plot. If I didn't do the plot, then it's sort of like there's this society that's hidden within the US that's like actually controlling a lot of what's going on. It reminded me a bit of the Atlas 6 in the terms of that like secret society, but just weird, just very weird. I enjoyed our main characters, Roger and Dodger. So I enjoyed reading their perspectives, and especially seeing their childhood and like them growing up and like what was going on, and figuring out with them in their like childhood memories and how that all worked. So I sort of enjoyed seeing them as we went through their lives and seeing what like they were going through, and the way that the narrative of this story is told, in that we get their perspectives, we get the perspectives of like this agency, this alchemical agency that's behind the scenes, building these people that are going to shape the world. So I enjoyed that. I did think it was weird, and I think it got weirder as it went on, that it did get slightly weird towards the end, and a bit action movie-esque, which just isn't my favourite thing to read. I'm just not a massive fan of like that, and that sort of like action movie sequence as we build up to the climax, and is the baddie gonna get them, but no, everything's gonna be okay. We've got this big, you know, explosions and drama and very, you know, action movie-esque, and I think that's how it ended to me, in my eyes, a little bit. But I did really enjoy it. I did like the way it was written. I did like the way sort of fairy tales were mixed into it. Overall, really enjoy it. I'd say it's like a 4 stars. Enjoyed, but not a new favourite. And I am happy to sort of leave this as a standalone and leave it like as is. But yeah, overall happy that I've read this and experienced it and can now sort of like be like, okay, this is what middle game is. It's weird. This concludes and this ends this reading vlog of reading your favourite books. I have read 3 books that you recommended to me to read from my physical TBR, and that has successfully been done. And why is there another plane? So yeah, this has successfully been done. It's a very dark stack, It's sort of all, it works. It fits together. It really does like work. I'd say, yeah, we sort of had a mixed bag. We'd had like a 3-star, a 4-star and a 5-star. So that works out quite well, a nice sort of round range of ratings, and I'm really happy that for all of these books, I've had them for ages. I've had them for a long time. They're now off of my TBR shelf. I will be unhauling Raybearer. I won't be keeping this one. I don't know where I'm going to take it, because no one's going to want this book with all those missing pages in the middle of it. Like, that's not going to be wanted by anybody. I feel as though if I took this into the charity shop and then someone bought it, they'd have the disappointment of being like, oh, I've got to page whatever it was, 210, and suddenly I don't have the rest of the book, well, 20 pages. And I'll be keeping these 2. This one I will just leave as a standalone and won't continue on, but this one I am definitely continuing on. I'm so excited to continue on with this one. I haven't yet. I've now ordered book 2. I have now done that, and I'm waiting for it to arrive. So very excited to continue on with this series. It was such a success. Such a success. So that wraps up this video and everything that I managed to read and get up to over the months of like June and July to succeed in doing this. I am now currently starting my like big month of reading 5,000 pages in August challenge, so maybe you'll get some like you should get some content on that coming out very soon. And thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, let me know how your reading has been going and if you've read any of these, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my future videos. Bye.